every coaster company has their shining star and their rough patch. But today I'm going to go through my personal favourites and least favourites from every manufacturer. And I guarantee you won't agree with all my opinions. Let's kick off with one of the heavyweights, B&M, known for their consistency and reliability. Well, they used to be. They seem to be having a bit of a rough spot right now. In terms of my favourite coaster from them, I would say it has to be Pipeline Surf Coaster over at SeaWorld, mainly because I think they've taken a ride that is typically not popular, as in stand-up coasters, and they've actually made a very, very enjoyable ride. I absolutely giggled like a schoolgirl the whole way around this ride. And I definitely can't wait to get back out there and try it again. In terms of my least favourite, well, I've said this in a number of videos now, but I do not seem to get on very well with their floorless model. Seems that I'm the wrong size for it. And there's one particular one that stands out to me as rough. And again, everyone's mileage varies, but for me it was definitely not comfortable, and that is Rougarou at Cedar Point, or Rougapoo. Right, switching gears to a manufacturer that has been pushing boundaries lately, and that is Mack Rides. Now, there's a couple of examples here in the UK. We obviously have Icon and Hyperia, and a number of powered coasters, etc. My favourite coaster from this manufacturer though would be Ride to Happiness at Plopsaland Japan, or Plopsaland Belgium as it's now known. I find it really weird that that ride exists there because the park itself is very, very, very family orientated, and then this ride I would definitely say is up in the thrill category because it is quite, well, it's an extreme spinner. The clue is in the name. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just wish it was in a different park. Right, in terms of the worst coaster from them, I struggled on this one because I actually have enjoyed every Mack coaster that I've experienced for different reasons. They obviously vary in intensity, like Runaway Mine Train compared to Ride to Happiness, obviously. But the one that I'm going to put in the worst spot for me is Cobra's Curse. And the reason for that is because the 2 times I visited Busch Gardens, it's been broken. So I've not experienced it, I don't know what it's like, I probably will enjoy it if I ever get on it, but right now, it's going in that worst spot. Right, now for a manufacturer that loves to throw people around. And it's a manufacturer that I have not been particularly kind to in the past, typically not a fan of their work, and that is Gerstlauer. Now, obviously, in terms of best ride, I had to think about this one because, as I say, I don't usually like their work. But there is one example where I did enjoy it, and I definitely would go on it more than once, and that is Anubis, again at Plopsaland Japan. That kind of rolling launch out of the station caught me unaware, is a lot of fun, and yeah, genuinely a great ride. In terms of least favourite, well, basically any of their Eurofighter models, so I'll say Saw for now because it's pretty rough, and again, I think this varies wildly with the train and the position that you sit in. Not a fan of the Eurofighter, and I am really curious with Polton's Park getting one next year, if that was the right choice for them. Of course, we cannot talk about thrills without bringing this next manufacturer into the mix. They are currently at the top of their game, and that is, of course, Intamin. Now, there'll be no surprises that my favourite coaster from these guys currently is Velocicoaster over at Islands of Adventure. Lots and lots of fun, fantastic ride. I know some people think that Gotham City Escape at Park Warner is better. I have done it, I did like it. I didn't think it was better. I do have another trip to Park Warner in a couple of months, so make sure you're subscribed for that. And I've got some ERT on it, so that might change. But right now, Velocicoaster is top of my list. In terms of bottom of the list though, I didn't realise one of these was manufactured by Intamin, and that is the Indiana Jones Temple of Peril ride at Disneyland Paris. I think it's horrific. Needs knockdown, it is terrible. Another notable one that is also in that kind of bracket would be Furious Backo, or Furious Backache at Portaventura. Punchy launch, don't get me wrong, and a great concept, but I had the onboard video from it, and my god, it was bouncing all over the shop. This next manufacturer has significantly changed in recent years. Vekoma has gone from meme-worthy to award-winning. Like, their rides used to be terrible, right? They gave us the SLC, I mean, that is just not a good ride, and then now they are giving us some absolutely stellar rides. In terms of my favourite ride though, I didn't realise that they manufactured what was my #1 coaster in the world, Guardians of the Galaxy in Epcot. Absolutely love that thing. Now granted, a huge part of that is the whole theming, the whole experience and that, but the ride itself is still a hell of a lot of fun, and that kind of controlled spin is pretty good. I'd love to see some more examples of that coming out in other parks. The other one that I've got at the top of the list for these guys is Siren's Curse. The only type coaster that I have experienced, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Was definitely terrified going on it the first time, but after that first drop, it's just glass smooth and a lot of fun. In terms of rides though that I don't like, well, I mean, I've already touched on the SLC. And listen, there are some rare examples that are alright, like Kamali at Flamingoland's no bad, and the Great Nor'easter at Maurie's Pier is surprisingly smooth. But Condor over in Wallaby Holland, yeah, that thing is beyond janky. And it's got the new vest restraints, which I thought would make a difference. Nah, it's still as rough as toast. Right, let's roll back a little bit to one of the pioneers, an old manufacturer that's no longer with us, but definitely changed the industry in more than one way. And that is Aerodynamics. Now, there are a lot of devout fans of this manufacturer, even all these years after its demise. For me personally, I am kind of pragmatic. There are some rides that I genuinely enjoy, and there are some that I think just have not stood the test of time. One of the ones that I do enjoy, or was actually pleasantly surprised by, is Magnum XL 200. Now, I'd heard a lot of people saying this is loads better than the big one, which I could not get my head round because, well, the big one was inspired by Magnum XL 200, so why would the clone be worse? But anyway, it is. The big one is nowhere near as good as Magnum XL 200, so that is definitely top of the pile. The bottom of the pile though is a ride that definitely has the iconic status, and for some I think that kind of covers up some of the problems with it, shall we say, and that is Loch Ness Monster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Now listen, it is, as I say, a very iconic ride, right? And I really wanted to like it because, you know, it's the Scottish ride in the Scotland area, and well, you know, I'm Scottish, but it's terrible. It's so bad. It's like, and do you know the bit that got me the most was the fact that the sections that have just been retracked, so the interlocking loops, were some of the worst. Now granted, I was sitting at the front, and some people have said if you sit at the back it's a lot more smooth. Maybe, and I get that, there are some rides that are like that, but definitely for me, yeah, Loch Ness Monster, definitely bottom of the pile. If this video was made by Vekoma, that like button down there would be glass smooth and super reliable, so why don't you try it out for me, and hit the subscribe button whilst you're there. Now let's fast forward to a manufacturer that we don't have in the UK, and that is Premier Rides. Now, I don't know why we don't have them in the UK. I don't know if they've got some weird restraints, right? And we'll get to that in a second, because that ties into the worst coaster from this manufacturer. The best one, well, I mean, that would be Revenge of the Mummy at Universal. I absolutely loved that ride and did not realise it was theirs. Recently retracked as well. I'm looking forward to getting back out there next year and experiencing it with my kids for the first time. Not my first time, their first time. In terms of the least favourite though, it's just they've got this model known as the Skyrocket 2. I'm guessing there was a Skyrocket 1. I've never seen one, never experienced one, but I have done a couple of the Skyrocket 2s. And the layout's kind of quirky, it's quite compact. So there's a few people saying, you know, it would go well in something like Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I personally wouldn't want one, but I can see where that small footprint would work. The problem with it for me though is the comfort collars, which aren't very comfortable, so they're stupidly named. And one of the examples I'm going to put as my worst would be Tigris at Busch Gardens Tampa. Right, then we move on to a bit of a game changer here, and that is Rocky Mountain Construction. Now these guys are very well known for taking older coasters that were wooden and then giving them a massive upgrade and a very modern twist with kind of this sort of steel track on the wooden supports. Tons of good examples of this one. My personal favourite is Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens. I never experienced Gwazi, the original wooden coaster, but Iron Gwazi is a hell of a lot of fun. It is relentless, it never stops, and I really want to get on Zadra, which is said to be its sister coaster over in Poland. That said, I've also had a bit of an issue with this manufacturer because, again, quite often the restraints and me do not get along. So one of the ones I'm going to say is the least favourite for me would be Twisted Timbers. It looks really, really good, right? That first kind of drop as you come round and you do an inversion straight away. The first section of the ride actually was alright, but then it just gets into those relentless airtime hills, and that is where I just give up on RMC. So yeah, that is my favourite and my least favourite. Right, whilst we're talking about wood, let's not forget about GCI, Great Coasters International, because they have come up with some amazing rides. Here in the UK, of course, we have Vekoma, which is a fantastic wooden ride, and I'm kind of surprised it took Towers so long to put a wooden coaster in. I know for a long time they were sitting there thinking people don't want wood anymore, steel is the way to go, and then they eventually put in Vekoma, and it's one of the better coasters in the park. In addition to that though, another one that I really enjoy in Efteling is Joris and the Draak, and that's a dueling variant of their coaster, and it's just a lot of fun. And now I've got the song stuck in my head. Great. In terms of ones that are not so great though, again going back over to Busch Gardens, Invader was a complete letdown. It's not an intense coaster by any stretch of the imagination. It's obviously aimed at families. You could say that for Vekoma as well. It was just a bit janky and rough. And again, I've said wooden coasters should have a bit of character, but the GCIs are modern. They don't have that age character with them. So yeah, there's my best and my worst. Right, on a very different scale, Maurer Rides has given us some unusual experiences. Now, quite often these guys are known for their spinning coasters, right? Dragon's Fury at Chessington, Spinball Whizzer at Alton Towers, Winge's Fear and Force over in Phantasialand. But my favourite of those would be Crush's Coaster at Disneyland Paris. Really enjoy that. Again, I know some people theming doesn't make a big difference for them, they just want to get on the ride. I think the whole package of this is really good. And you know, I think one of the other spinning coasters I did in America had the exact same layout as Crush's coaster, but didn't feel as good. Like there was just something missing from that experience. So I do think the theming helps there. In terms of least favourite, so there would have been a coaster here as my least favourite, but it's no longer with us, it's gone. And that is Rip Ride Rocket. The next one though I wish would go, and I thought it might have gone, and that is Rattlesnake at Chessington. I get it, it's a sort of wild mouse style, and they're supposed to throw you around a little bit, but my god, this one takes it to the extreme, and it is just uncomfortable. And of course, they're doing a lot of work in Chessington right now. Unfortunately, Rattlesnake is just outside the perimeter of the construction. Hope they accidentally knock it down. Right, and finally we've got Zamperla, a manufacturer that I think has surprised quite a lot of people. Now obviously these guys are notorious for the smaller family attractions, but they've kind of gone into the big league lately with Top Thrill 2. Now it wasn't the most successful thing for them because, well, the attraction was only open for 8 days last year and then had to shut for major renovations, but touch wood, it has been reopened this year and I got on it recently, thoroughly enjoyed it. It is definitely my favourite Zamperla, and at the time of recording it's my favourite coaster, full stop. It is brilliant. What is not brilliant though is the other end of the spectrum, because these guys also gave us an attempt at a flying coaster known as the Volare. Now here in the UK we have an example of that in Flamingo Land known as Hero, and it is horrible. There we go. That is all of my favourite and least favourite rides by all of the main manufacturers. As I said at the start, I suspect there will be things that you agree with and probably quite a few that you disagree with, and I'd love to hear your list in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this one, hit that like button and please do subscribe. I've been Chris, you've been watching Coaster Dad. See you in the next one. Adios.